This is going to be a very bold statement. This fragrance might be the best fragrance in my collection. Potentially. All right, guys. So on today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into what I would currently consider my top 10 favorite fragrances in my entire collection. Now, of course, this is not including my own fragrances, which I've done, which are obviously always going to be my favorites. And I'm also not going to include some of my like 10 for life fragrances that I've had for a long time. So like Aventus, Portrait of a Lady, like not those fragrances, but I would say over the last 2 years, fragrances that I've acquired in my collection. These are like 10 of my favorites. I love all 10 of these. Well, there's actually 12, and I'll explain that in a minute. But anyway, let's talk about it, man. What's going on, YouTube? I'm Darian, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy, man. I tell you guys how you can look and smell your best every day. So I talk about fragrances primarily, but I throw some style tips in there as well. So if you're into looking good and smelling great, which I hope all of you are, then subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell icon as well. So that way, when I upload new content, you'll get notified. So guys, as I said in the intro, today's video is about my current 10 to 12 favorite fragrances in my entire collection. Like I said, I'm not going to include fragrances I've had for a long time, as you guys know are my favorites, like Oud Wood and Portrait of a Lady and Oud Satin Mood and, you know, those fragrances. Not really talking about those Aventus. I'm talking about more recent acquisitions here over the past 2 years that I'm absolutely in love with as much as I'm in love with those fragrances. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is one of the things I love. I love doing videos like this because I can really talk about just fragrances I absolutely love. Not even just the ones I like a lot, the ones I love. And all the fragrances that I'm going to mention today fall into that category. So anyway, we're going to get on with it. If you want to see what's on the list, you know how we do. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump into this video. Now, really quickly, I was going to do 10 fragrances, but I had to include 12 because, honestly, man, this first brand I want to talk about could really, I probably could do at least 5 to 7 of these from this brand alone because they are that good. I'm talking about the brand of Boadicea the Victorious, so I had to mention these first two fragrances as well, but this fragrance right here, man, Valiant. This is so good. Seriously, this is so good. A creamy orange citrus fragrance. That's really the best way for me to really break it down. So obviously you can kind of understand what I'm saying through this camera, but I think it's orange blossom in here, mandarin orange, sandalwood in here as well. Maybe even some tonka, if I'm not mistaken. But this is just an amazing fragrance. All right, just reminds me of, you know, something that you would wear in the summertime or the springtime that would just make you feel amazing. All right, it just smells great. Again, I've heard people say this and I've said it, a creamy orange sickle. That's kind of sort of what this smells like, man. But this stuff is phenomenal from Boadicea. Again, this one is Valiant, and I love the bottle on this fragrance. Now, there's another one from Boadicea that I really love as well, and that's Amber Sapphire. Amber Sapphire. Now, this fragrance was a birthday gift to me from the missus. Shout out to Mrs. Bowtie. Simply put, and I love amber, and I have a lot of amazing amber fragrances, but this is definitely top 3. All right, and that's really saying something because you got the Amber Absolutes of the world. Again, the host of great amber fragrances that I really, really love and adore, but this is one of the best. And obviously there's an amber accord in here, but there's some tonka bean, there's some rum, there's some cinnamon in this. This thing is breathtaking, seriously. And I love this stuff. If you love amber, man, you gotta smell this. You gotta smell this stuff, man. Again, this is Amber Sapphire. Now we're gonna go ahead and keep going with that brand. This is gonna be a very bold statement. This fragrance might be the best fragrance in my collection. Potentially. It's definitely top 5. Keeping in with the brand, or staying with the brand of Boadicea the Victorious, man, this is Blue Sapphire. Blue Sapphire. And I heard a lot of people talk about this fragrance before I acquired it. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. That's all that I can say, guys. This is a rose oud fragrance, but it does not smell like any other rose oud that I have in my collection. All right. So let's just say you take rose and oud, but then you get like, again, I like to talk about when I smell a nice lemon note, like lemon heads. You know, from back in the day, some of us used to eat lemon heads. If you've had lemon heads, you know what I'm talking about. So you got this nice citrus accord in the opening, some florals in this as well to go with that rose and oud. And like I said, it's not like any other rose oud fragrance that I have in the collection. Candied citruses, that's how I like to describe it in the opening of this fragrance, mixed with some florals and rose and oud. And you just gotta smell this stuff, man. Seriously, and this is no exaggerating. I'm just being 100% who I am right now talking about these fragrances. And this is the kind of reaction that I have to things that I really love like this. And this one, it's just breathtaking, man. From Boadicea Victorious, guys. I know this fragrance is expensive. A lot of the fragrances from this brand is, but if you can get a sample of this, you'll see what I'm talking about. Again, from Boadicea the Victorious, this is called Blue Sapphire. Now, this next fragrance is from a brand that's really making waves. And I've been talking about them a lot more here recently because I'm really starting to get into this brand. But it is the brand of Mind Games, and this is called Jadoub. This is called Jadoub. And this is a fragrance that is centered around the note of pomegranate. And this stuff is so good, man. I can't really explain what pomegranate does to a fragrance, but it's almost akin to what fig does in a fragrance to me. All right, so you got pomegranate in here, the suede. There's actually lists some of the notes here on the back. There's some rose in here, there's patchouli, a little bit of leather. This thing, guys, is just so freaking good. Now I have this one, I have Double Attack, which could have made this list as well because I like that one just as much. But man, guys, if you like unique fragrances, you gotta get your nose on this because pomegranate, especially in fragrances that are marketed to men, just aren't really, it's an underutilized note, but it does really, really well in my humble opinion. It's so good. It's so good. And this is one that I highly recommend you guys check out. Some of you have, and you came back and told me how much you love this fragrance. So anyway, it's from the brand of Mind Games. Guys, you gotta check this one out. It's called Jadoub. All right, now this next fragrance is another amber fragrance that I'm absolutely head over heels for. This is from the brand of Narcotica. You guys know what's coming. This is Doza. Doza, man. Let me tell you what's in it. I've said it before, but I'll go back through it, man. And there's an amber accord obviously in here. It's Doza Amber Intense is the actual name of the fragrance. So you have amber in here. You have the cypress in the opening, which I told you guys, for some of you may almost seem out of place in this fragrance because of the other notes in here, but it works. Sichuan pepper, amber. There's some tobacco in here. You gotta check this out. Guys, if you like amber, you gotta check this one out. You gotta check it out, man. It's just, again, for amber lovers, it's just something you gotta get your nose on. I often talk about this particular aspect of this fragrance when I talk about this note of vanilla bean in the dry down, because there's so many different types of vanilla, and vanilla smells different depending on the type that's used. Some vanillas are a lot drier and almost bitter. You have this, what I call more of a typical vanilla that you smell in fragrances. So there's different types of vanilla. The vanilla bean note in here, again, gives us this almost gourmand quality. gotta put your nose on this stuff, man. This is an amazing scent from the brand of Narcotica. And they're coming out with a new fragrance, but the 3 that they have so far in their portfolio, I'll vouch 100% for, but to me, this is my favorite. So check it out. Again, it's from Narcotica. This is called Doza. All right, guys, the next fragrance that I want to talk about that's currently in my favorites, I cannot get enough of this fragrance and wearing it. It's from the brand of Clive Christian, and this is Amberwood. Amberwood, I guess you guys can tell by now the type of fragrances that I like. You're going to hear some of the same notes. There's an amber type of accord in here, and Broxton. You have tobacco in here as well. You have some tonka bean, some vanilla. This stuff is just amazing, man. The tobacco in here, there's a slight smokiness that comes with it, but I love the sweet aspects, the sweeter aspects of this fragrance that really just makes it, puts it right in the wheelhouse, I would say, for the type of fragrances that I just thoroughly enjoy. Now, there's some people, I know that there's some people that don't really care for the brand of Clive Christian and things of that nature because they feel like they're overpriced. And I can understand that sentiment when it comes to some of their fragrances. But this one, to me, is one that is definitely worth the price of admission. I just wish they made this in a bigger bottle. I wish this came in a 3.4 ounce, which I don't think it does. This is a 1.7. But man, this stuff is amazing. It is so freaking good, man. Another one that I highly recommend. And of course, that's why I made this list. From the brand of Clive Christian, guys, check out Amberwood. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list, it took one of the fragrances that I've always considered one of my favorite fragrances and to me made it a little bit better. And I know that's really saying something when you see the fragrance that I'm talking about, but this fragrance is from the brand of Amouage, and this is Reflection 45. Reflection 45, man. If you've heard me talk about this fragrance before, number one, you know how much I love it. Number two, I always say they took that particular DNA, which I love. You know, the jasmine, the sandalwood, all that stuff, all the white florals. They maintain that, but they just made it a little bit grittier, you know, a little bit earthier. You know, you have some vetiver in here. You have some opopanax, some angelica in here as well. So a little bit more woody and gritty and earthier. And again, just really expanded that DNA and took it to the next level. And again, this is another one that's like an extrait de parfum. So it lasts all freaking day. So it gives you all the elements, or gave me all the elements that I love from the original Reflection, man. And again, really just amplified that DNA and took it to the next level. Man, you gotta smell this stuff. This is just crazy how good this stuff smells. You gotta check it out, guys. Seriously. From the brand of Amouage. I love this stuff. This is Reflection 45. All right, guys, this next fragrance, my gosh, man, this is so good. It is from the brand of Argos, and this is called Adonis Awakens. Adonis Awakens, and I don't know what Christian was thinking about when he made this, but my gosh, he knocked this one out of the park, man. And again, that's saying something because he has so many great fragrances in his portfolio. Danae, I think it's, of course, the most popular fragrance that he has, Triumph of Bacchus. Tremendous fragrances in their own regard. And I've told him this before, I told him I go back and forth. I was going back and forth sometimes between those three of which one do I really like the best because they're all so good. But this one just keeps winning out. If you guys know anything about me, you know I love the note of rose. And this, guys, is a very unique rose fragrance. And at this stage of my fragrance journey, when I can get something unique, it really speaks to me. And this, I have no other rose fragrance out of the probably 22 or so that I have. There's no other rose fragrance that I have that smells anything like this. Rose, Bulgarian rose is in here. And I always talk about this combination of this grapefruit and raspberry combination in this fragrance. I cannot explain to you guys what it does to this fragrance. And there's a chestnut accord as it dries down that gives this slight gourmand feel to this fragrance that I love. This is just divine. You gotta smell this thing. You gotta smell it, man. That's why it's on this list, man, because it just smells phenomenal, honestly. That's, you know, and that's what this is about at the end of the day, man. So check it out from the brand of Argos. Again, this is called Adonis Awakens. All right, guys, this next fragrance is one that you're probably only going to hear me talk about this fragrance, but I love a good fougere. And once again, I also love a good fragrance that is unique. And this fragrance is from the brand of Tom Ford, and this is Fougere Platine. This is called Fougere Platine, and this is from the Private Blend collection. And this is just, oh my God, it's so good. This is smoky, right? So you have all the elements of a traditional Fougere. Of course, the lavender is in here, all that stuff. But two notes that really make this fragrance unique: tobacco and honey. Tobacco and honey are in this fragrance, and again, as only in my opinion Tom Ford could do, is really take a Fougere and make it super, super sexy. And that's what that honey and tobacco does for this fragrance, because the honey, of course, gives that sensuality, that creamy, almost sweetness that, you know, you get from honey. And then you have the tobacco that's giving this smokiness to this fragrance. It's dynamite, guys. You got to put your nose on this stuff. It is highly slept on and highly underrated. But if you love Fougeres, I think you'll love this fragrance, just like I do. And again, it's from the brand of Tom Ford, from the Private Blend collection. I think it's been discontinued, but right now you can still find them. And I would say at a very reasonable price. This one is called Fougere Platine. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list is another rose fragrance. But again, I love the unique factor that this fragrance brings to the table. It just smells absolutely phenomenal. It's from the brand of BDK Parfums, and this is Tobac Rose. Tobac Rose, another fragrance that absolutely blew me away when I smelled it. Obviously, roses in here, but you're going to get tobacco and cinnamon in this fragrance as well. Tobacco and cinnamon. Again, hence the name Tobac Rose. And again, there's no way for me to describe this fragrance other than to use the word phenomenal. All right. I think there's actually a chocolate accord in here as well. So it really takes that note of rose and takes that sensuality to the next level, man. This is like, if you're going like on a date night, guys, this is one you got to get your nose on. This thing is sensuality in a bottle, and it smells absolutely freaking phenomenal. I love stuff from BDK, but to me, I think this is my favorite BDK fragrance. So check it out. It's from the brand of BDK Parfums. Again, this is called Tobac Rose. All right, guys, this next fragrance is from a brand called Scents of Woods, and this is plum and cognac. Plum and cognac. Now, to me, this is a fragrance that highlights another note that is, to me, just like pomegranate, is really underutilized, and that's plum. Plum, you have rum, you have cinnamon in here as well. You just got to put your nose on this stuff, guys. Again, a boozy plum fragrance. Look, I think people in the market was yearning for another boozy plum fragrance since the discontinuation of Plum Japonais from Tom Ford. And if you're one of those people, here is the cure to that, because this is as good as Plum Japonais in my humble opinion, man. Amazing fragrance. Like I said, love the fact that it really highlights a note that doesn't get utilized, especially in men's fragrances a lot, which is the note of plum. But the plum brings a sensuality to this fragrance that I really enjoy. So check it out. Again, it's from the brand of Scents of Woods, and this is Plum and Cognac. All right, guys, and last but not least, I saved this one for last because I've talked about it the most, so it should come as no surprise. From the brand of the Harmonist, this is Hypnotizing Fire. Hypnotizing Fire, and this encompasses pretty much everything that I love about a fragrance. I love warm spices, so there's pimento in here, which is kind of an allspice. Like I said, it's like a cinnamon nutmeg kind of combination, maybe sometimes clove. You get a little clove in there as well, but you have pimento spice, you have vanilla. Of course, you have the opopanax that gives this fragrance its smokiness. And of course, that is all kind of surrounding that note of rose. No words for this. No words to tell you guys how good this stuff is. All right. And like I said, I've talked about it a lot, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that it's on the list. But I love this fragrance. Currently one of my favorites from the brand of the Harmonist. This is Hypnotizing Fire. But that is it, guys. That is my time. I hope you enjoyed this video today. As always, I sincerely appreciate your time and your attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do. And I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to make sure you take a few moments to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you're sharing these videos out to some other folks out there that you think could use this information to find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.